We do actually have some real news that broke right before I was about to upload today's podcast, and that's wide receiver Josh Gordon is stepping away from football to focus on his mental health, leaving the New England Patriots. Gordon posted on his Twitter account, "I take my mental health very seriously at this point to ensure I remain able to perform at the highest level. I have recently felt like I could have a better grasp on things mentally. With that said, I'll be stepping away from the football field for a bit to focus on my mental health. I want to thank Belichick, Kraft, as well as countless others with the Patriots organization for their continued support." He goes on. But the reason Gordon's stepping away, it appears that he failed some sort of terms of his substance deal with the NFL. He's in the substance abuse program, which means he could have failed a marijuana test. He could have failed the alcohol test. I don't know. They haven't made that information public. But what we do know is that the NFL will do anything to help a player out unless that's allow that player to smoke weed. And as we get more and more information about the medical benefits of marijuana, it's a stupid thing the NFL has refused to bend on. Again, I don't know what the details are, what happened with Gordon. I do think Josh Gordon does have addiction issues. If you paid attention to his story and a lot of the things he's been through, it's deeper than just smoking weed or having an addiction to alcohol. And because he failed another test, he was facing an indefinite suspension by the NFL, which I think is bullshit. Look, I don't know the details of what's going on with Josh Gordon. I think everybody wants to see him on the field because the talent's there. But if it is a substance abuse issue, if he has addiction problems, I don't know how suspending him and not giving him a job, not letting him do something that he does very well, I don't know how that helps him. I don't know why the NFL can't make exceptions in this department. It seems silly. Again, I'm not saying I think alcohol can help Josh Gordon or even necessarily weed, and I believe in the medical value of marijuana. You have to understand his situation to really know whether that can help him, but let's just say it is weed. Let's say he failed another marijuana test. I don't know why kicking him out of the NFL, which they would have done, and they would make his ability to get back into the NFL extremely difficult. So if he needs help, I hope he gets it. I think that goes without saying. But also with the Freedom Football League forming by former players, they've already stated that they're going to allow players to use marijuana and they're not going to drug test them. I don't know. I just think trying to dictate what people put in their bodies is stupid, especially when you play a game that affects your body every single day. So anyway, now to the podcast. Welcome to the That's Good Sports podcast. This is a podcast about football. I'm Brandon Perna here with Will Keys at WillKeys6 on Twitter. Follow him there.
Oh, is that it?
You shaved a little bit, didn't you?
I shaved a lot of it. Yeah.
You look younger.
That's good to know. Yeah, I wanted to take at least like 10 years off. So now I look like I'm 25 instead of 35.
Yeah. I to do that, I do Botox.
Yeah, well, we all knew that. That's that's a requirement for making it onto ESPN or HBO.
Yeah, but I don't do it on my face. I do it on my balls so that they are just smooth like a bowling ball. Yeah, like eggs. Like eggs. So really nobody can see what the pain I go through to try and look younger, it's like, why do I even do it,
A question, unrelated to your smooth balls, but does it ever keep you up at night that Bill Simmons had a TV show on HBO and you didn't have it?
It doesn't keep me up at night, but
just during the day.
Do I think I could have had better success if given a show opportunity on HBO? Yeah, you better believe that shit, Will.
I think anybody could have had better success than Bill Simmons on HBO.
Well, his show was just boring. Like, I mean, it was just him talking to people. It's like you have this unique opportunity to talk about sports in a entertaining way, and it just really didn't happen. So once I get my opportunity and my guaranteed money, then I won't give a shit if I fail miserably. But I mean, Bill, he still has the ringer. They're still making money, I guess, somehow.
Allegedly.
Part of HBO. I don't know. But yeah, Bill Simmons he got a show. Katie Nolan's had 2 shows. DeSuze and Mero, they've had 2 shows. I've been given 0 shows. But
yeah, that hurts.
I feel like, do we already talk about that once or every week?
We talked about it last week.
Yeah.
We talked about the Kyle Brandt football experience.
That's right. The football experience.
That's basically your show.
Yeah. I'll get my due.
Yeah, eventually.
Or I'll die underappreciated like
Van Gogh.
Yeah, Van Gogh.
Yeah. Same beard, plus 1 year.
Yeah, I'll cut off a different body part.
That's a cliffhanger for next week.
I will leave which body part I should cut off as a poll on YouTube.
That's only for the Patreon subscribers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Will and I we're gonna break down. There's a lot of shit happening in the NFL. We'll try to talk about the game matchups that actually matter this week. Our Pro Bowl snubs. And then with the Broncos, that's the rundown for the Broncos. Exactly. And but we do want to start with some breaking news.
Oh, it is breaking.
Are you going to break it, or am I going to break it?
I should break it. I actually went to journalism school, so I actually know how to break news.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, they don't teach you how to,
No, I didn't. I went to video school.
Yeah, they don't teach you how to break news there. Breaking news: Jon Gruden of the Oakland Raiders signed quarterback. Wait for it. Nathan Peterman, formerly of the Buffalo Bills, owner of the worst interception to touchdown ratio, I think, in NFL history. This is huge. I know we're going to dive into a little bit of worst take, but before we put our Stephen A. and Skip Bayless caps on, do you have any rational thoughts on this signing?
I think I'll have to save those for my argument, Will. I guess my one question is how bad is AJ McCarron?
Yeah. Jeez.
Because he's the backup to Derek Carr, and many Broncos fans wanted AJ McCarron to be signed to the Broncos. Like, he was a name tossed around, you know, along with Case Keenum and Kirk Cousins and Teddy Bridgewater and all these other guys. So I guess, do you think Nathan Peterman is better than AJ McCarron?
Well, here's what's going to happen. Nathan Peterman, we all know him for wearing the number 2, right? Wore number 2 at Pittsburgh, I think. Please, no one fact check that. Wore number 2 with the Bills. AJ McCarron, however, wears number 2 with the Raiders. So it's going to be a big sign of dominance if Nathan Peterman negotiated for the number 2 in his contract with the Raiders, because we know Jon Gruden really loves him. So I think Nathan Peterman had a lot of leverage in these talks. So I think if AJ McCarron loses his number to Nathan Peterman, he just has to retire.
AJ McCarron and Nathan Peterman will be fighting to prove who the bigger number 2 is.
Yes. Well, the biggest number 2 in Oakland is actually just the Coliseum.
Oh, yeah. Oakland Raiders, 1 of 3 teams with 0 Pro Bowl players nominated to the Pro Bowl.
Depends if you count the players that were previously on their roster this season.
Yeah, well, Khalil Mack made it. I really wanted Amari Cooper to make it just for the joke there.
If he had played with Dallas for longer, he probably would have.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into a little worst take.
Worst take time.
All right. Yeah, we're sometimes from time to time we like to do a little what would you call it? Like a debate show.
Yeah, it's a parody
in the vein of shows like Undisputed, First Take, basically everything that Fox Sports puts out there.
Yeah. So all 30 of those shows that are so unique and original.
Yeah, and it's just dudes speaking their mind and just having good sports takes. And
passionate about what they believe.
We learned last week when First Take was breaking down the Chargers and the Chiefs game. They come from a place of a very informed production, and that's what we like to bring here too.
Yeah, informative.
Pretend I'm the moderator. Pretend I'm Molly Karam or whoever, and pretend I'm married to Jalen Rose for a second. Not in real life, but so the Raiders have signed Nathan Peterman. I'm just going to lay this question out for you guys. Should the Raiders start Nathan Peterman over not only A.J. McCarron, but also their incumbent starter, Derek Carr? Brandon, I'm going to start with you.
Ooh, well, wow. Coming in with the guns ablazing with that kind of question, Will. Let me ask you a question here. What's the most important stat for a quarterback? What is the one stat you look at and it tells you everything you need to know about a quarterback, no questions asked?
Yards per attempt.
Wrong. It's completion percentage, Will. Everybody knows completion percentage is the most important stat you could have. There's no way of fudging those numbers or padding your completion percentage. It's why Drew Brees is the greatest quarterback in the NFL. Well, Nathan Peterman has a higher completion percentage this season than his former quarterback competition, Josh Allen. So why the Buffalo Bills even let Nathan Peterman go when he's clearly better than Josh Allen doesn't make any sense. And I think this just proves why Jon Gruden, outsmarting everybody when he wants everybody to think he's not outsmarting them, brings in Nathan Peterman. Also, I believe he finished one of his games this season with completing 100% of his passes.
Now, I got to tell you something. You can't count interceptions as completions, even though they were completed to the opposing team.
He was 2 for 2. He was 2 for 2, Will.
Fair enough.
Against the Patriots. Yeah. 2 of 2 against Bill Belichick's team.
I'm supposed to be impressed by that.
114 QB rating, 11.5 yards per attempt.
A team that couldn't even beat the Steelers on a 3-game losing streak. A team that couldn't even beat the Dolphins. A team that couldn't even beat the Titans. A team that couldn't even beat the Jaguars. Blasphemous. Now let me tell you something about Nathan Peterman. Let me tell you something, Brandon Perna. Have you ever seen the movie It's a Wonderful Life?
Yeah, it's been a while, but it is the right season to watch that film.
Well, I've never seen it either, but I assume it's about Christmas miracles. And let me tell you about a Christmas miracle that we are witnessing today, and that is the signing of Nathan Peterman, because it's going to do one thing. It's going to keep the Oakland Raiders in Oakland. Ticket sales are going to go through the roof. People are here to watch Nathan Peterman, whether he succeeds or whether he fails. Asses will be in seats. And at the end of the day, the NFL is a business. The National Football League is a business. The National Football League is about selling tickets. And I'm not filibustering by saying National Football League because I'm just waiting for the timer to run out. I just want you to know that the National Football League is about entertainment and also about business and also about putting asses in seats. And Nathan Peterman did that. Jon Gruden had a stroke of genius. I think Mark Davis just had a regular stroke, but that's because he eats a lot of P.F. Chang's. But when you have players in Oakland, now let me tell you, I'm thinking about players in Oakland. I'm thinking about Jared Cook. I'm thinking about Hunter Henry. I'm thinking about Tim Brown. I'm thinking about Jerry Rice. I'm thinking about Marshawn Lynch. That's a lot of pieces for Nathan Peterman to work with. I'm thinking about Fred Biletnikoff.
I'm thinking
That
about
dude used to smoke-
Napoleon Kaufman.
I've been thinking about Napoleon Kaufman. I've been thinking about Napoleon Kaufman since before you were born. I'm thinking about Amari Cooper. I'm thinking about Khalil Mack. I'm thinking about all those guys. I'm not sure if any of them still play for the Raiders, but I've been thinking about them.
Think about them. Just think about them for a while.
And that's what I think about Nathan Peterman. This is just all those players as well.
So in our worst take segment, we are both pro Peterman.
Yeah, really nothing to argue about.
Okay. Pro Peterman. The crazy thing is, I mean, Gruden sneaks in and signs Peterman before the Broncos Raiders game on Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve is when they play. No way to honor the birth of Jesus by having two football teams out of the playoffs battle in primetime football.
That's right. I'm looking forward to this game. You know what? I lied. I'm not looking forward to this game. I don't know if I want to watch it really.
Yeah, it's going to be
we're going to have to.
It sucks that it's on Christmas Eve.
It does. It's not as bad as the Chiefs game that was on Christmas 2 years ago because they just got destroyed. And
I don't remember that game.
You probably don't. I wish I didn't either. Anyway, I think I should record this game. I think probably everyone should do this is enjoy time with the family first. And then when everybody leaves or when you go home, play it because it's on TV no matter where you live. If you have a DVR, I would say record this. Spend some quality time with your family because you only get so much. The Broncos and Raiders play twice a year every year. And it was really just – we could have had this game on a Sunday. We could have had this game on a Saturday again. I would have been fine with that. But Christmas Eve, way to just ruin the holidays.
Yeah. I mean, even heading into this season, I don't think anybody thought the Raiders were going to be competitive. So it's just strange game to put on prime time. I know Broncos, Raiders, long history of having a great rivalry, but not.
It's just I don't think it's the same rivalry without Aqib Talib and Michael Crabtree anymore. Because that was the only thing
that was keeping that rivalry
sparking anything. Yeah.
You were at the Broncos Browns game on Saturday. What was that like?
One thing I noticed was there were a lot of Browns fans, and I've never seen the Browns play. I don't know what their
fans crowd
attendance is like.
It was 0 before this season.
Probably. But you know what they say, give the Browns 6 wins and they're going to act like they're the New England Patriots. And that's kind of what it was like. And to anybody listening to this that has season tickets, please don't sell your season ticket or any of your tickets to opposing fans. It's a tough scene all around. I left long before Baker Mayfield got to the set. Or anything and talk to the guys from NFL Network, but apparently there's only Browns fans left. And that might fly in like Arizona or San Diego or Los Angeles, but it shouldn't fly in Denver, Colorado. So all around, losing to the Browns for the first time since 1990 was bad enough. Losing to them at home for the first time since 1972 is bad enough. But having them invade your home stadium, that's a bridge too far for me. So fun to go. Always fun to go to the stadium. I had a good time looking at the Ring of Fame outside and seeing all those old players. But overall, the product on the field was very subpar, as I'm sure everybody saw on television.
And your dad's phone was not broken?
No. No, you're safe. We don't have to seize any of your assets.
Good.
So don't worry.
I spilled my water all over Will's dad's phone the night before the game when we met for beers.
Yep. It's safe. We're good. We're on to Cincinnati.
Okay, good. I was very worried about that because their tickets were also on the phone. So
yeah,
could have been bad situation.
Could have just ruined the whole trip.
Could have. The good news for the Broncos is that Phillip Lindsay and Von Miller were selected to the Pro Bowl.
Yep.
The Lindsay one, I mean, I don't think that surprises anybody. And I don't think I realized, like, with that on the radar, how big of an accomplishment it was, as he became the first offensive undrafted rookie to be selected to a Pro Bowl ever. So that's pretty cool. It's basically the only thing we can say is cool, and it's the only thing we can really talk about as Broncos fans optimistically for the next 2 weeks till the season's over and heads start rolling and we start getting amped up for the 2019 comeback season.
Yeah, no, it's been sad recently that we start looking forward to the off season like 4 weeks early these last 2 years.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when your team's not very good, and we're kind of switching shoes with the Browns here, which again I don't like. I don't like having anything in common with the Browns really, but that's just kind of what the season's turned into.
The only thing they should have in common is the color orange,
and also the B and the R and the O.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, Phillip Lindsay, like, although he's had, I mean, I don't want to say it's his fault that he's rushed for 54 yards over the last 2 games, just because teams have been gearing up for him, and Cincinnati didn't play the run especially well. They don't play it well when they're trying to, but it didn't look like they were loading up to stop the run either, and he obviously gashed them. 49ers had the right idea. They also have a good defensive line, and that helps. But they just said, we're going to stop the run no matter what. We're going to stop the inside run. We're going to stop the outside run. We're going to stop everything. And we're going to make Case Keenum beat us, and he couldn't. And the Browns saw that, and it's like, well, that's the same thing we're going to do. And the Broncos threw the ball, it felt like, twice as much as they ran it, and it's not a good formula for the Broncos. It kind of highlights how dire things have gotten without guys like Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders and Jeff Hireman. But it's not a winning formula for the Broncos. Teams have kind of figured out the weakness, and Phillip Lindsay has kind of suffered because of that. But I'm still glad, he made the Pro Bowl. He'll still get over 1,000 yards with 9 yards on Christmas Eve, assuming he gets there. And overall, it's a really good season to be proud of. And it's a really cool honor to be the first undrafted offensive rookie to make the Pro Bowl.
I guess.
I mean, it's okay.
It's all right.
Yeah. Von Miller, though, I mean, we kind of
you expect that.
It's kind of like Champ Bailey back in the day.
Yeah. You expect Von Miller. I mean, he's still performing. He's still like top 5 in all the important stats.
I mean, he might be having his best season production-wise since 2012, his second year when he had 18 sacks or something like that, 18 or 19 sacks. He's got 14 and a half right now. He broke Simon Fletcher's franchise record for sacks on Saturday. You throw in an interception there too, so obviously he doesn't just sack the quarterback. But yeah, he's having a terrific season, and I think him and Chubb on either end, people like to discredit a lot of what Chubb does because he's got Von Miller on the other side, but it helps Von Miller a lot to have Chubb on the other side too. And it's like he hasn't really had anybody like this since DeMarcus Ware was healthy, really back in 2015. So obviously the numbers are exploding because of that.
Yeah, and even in 2015, Von Miller, he only had 11 sacks that season. So in terms of sacks, his numbers are up. Of course, 2015, he wrecked the Super Bowl, won MVP. That was many people would say that was impressive. I think
not me.
But I mean, I don't know. I think the season's kind of in the tank when the biggest Broncos news story of the week was that John Elway thought about hiring Mike Shanahan at the end of last year.
Is that Elway texting you right now?
Yeah, he's telling me to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Because he's gonna hire Shanahan tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean,
he's hiring Shanahan on Christmas Eve. Ultimate switcheroo.
obviously, like I saw your video about this, but what's like your overall take on, say, like a Cousins, Shanahan, Elway trio? Think that would be, I don't know, more successful than I don't want to say what we have now because just about anything would be, but do you think that would be more successful than, say, like what's going on in Minnesota?
I think Minnesota is about to flip the switch on their offense. I mean,
Okay.
I think Kirk Cousins, I don't think he's played that bad this season.
No, he's got good numbers. I think a lot of what's hurt Kirk Cousins this year is all of his good games have been in like the morning slot, and pretty much all of his bad games have been prime time, like Thursday night.
Yeah.
Well, he actually played well on Thursday night in a loss to the Rams, but like Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football, he's pretty much stunk. And all the games that he's been really, really impressive in, which have been quite a few, are just like morning games that get buried beneath like 10 other games that are going on at the same time.
Yeah, I think Kirk Cousins is clearly a better quarterback than Case Keenum. He's definitely a better pocket passer.
That's a take.
I think we talked about it in the video. Like, I don't know if Mike Shanahan could be a good NFL head coach at this point. After a while, you get too old, you get too stuck in your ways. I just don't. And that's not to say like he couldn't come in after taking a break, that he's been reevaluating the way he would approach things offensively. Like, I'm not sold on the idea that he's still a top 10 head coach in the league. But what I do believe would be there is a good relationship between he and Kirk Cousins. Obviously, I think that plays a really big role in your team's success. But again, is Kirk Cousins the kind of quarterback who's actually going to carry your team?
Probably not.
I don't know. Yeah, it's like he would have a good running game in Denver. But like the receiving weapons in Minnesota are more talented. Like, I don't know. The Broncos have a lot of holes, and a really good quarterback would solve a lot of those. But yeah, I mean,
it feels like we should give Case Keenum, I don't want to say the benefit of the doubt because I think that's too strong, but I think we need to acknowledge that they traded away Demaryius Thomas. Emmanuel Sanders got hurt, and obviously his play has declined pretty sharply in the 2 games since Sanders got hurt.
Yeah.
Jake Butt got hurt. His starting tight end, Jake Butt, got hurt after 3 games. Jeff Hireman got hurt right as he was coming on to and establishing some kind of chemistry with Case Keenum. So he hasn't really had the best of circumstances. His running game's obviously been adequate, but I mean, if you take Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen away from Kirk Cousins, I think he's probably going to struggle too.
Well, yeah. No, I mean, that's why like neither one of them was a home run selection this offseason. But they were just what appeared to be the best available quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And looking forward, you've got Joe Flacco getting people half chubs.
Oh man.
You've got Nick Foles possibly, maybe coming out of Philadelphia. Teddy Bridgewater still maybe a possibility for somebody to trade for. I don't know what his contract is with the Saints, if it's a 1-year thing or what. So we're going to do the exact same thing we did last offseason.
Well, let me throw out a name for you. Let's say hypothetically, Nick Foles, the guy you brought up, wins out in the last 2 games of the season. He already beat the Rams. He goes to the Super Bowl again. He plays, I don't know, Patrick Mahomes. Outduels Patrick Mahomes. The final score is 41-33. Instead of catching a touchdown, the the Eagles put him into the special teams like Taysom Hill. He blocks a punt near the end of the game. Someone picks it up, runs it in for a touchdown. He can't do it all by himself. Anyway, the Eagles can't get rid of Nick Foles. They want to trade Carson Wentz. How much do you give up for Carson Wentz?
Ooh. Oh.
I joke about it, but like,
I would give away the first round draft pick for him, and
I think you'd have to give up like two and change. I think.
Yeah, I would take Carson Wentz.
Yeah, no, I would too. It doesn't help that he broke his back.
No,
or tore his ACL the season before. Those aren't good things to happen. But no, I joke about it, but like it's a possibility that Nick Foles could be back in the playoffs for the Eagles again this year.
Yeah, no, if they catch another
and once that happens, anything could happen, really.
Yeah. And then also even Nick Mullins out there starting to play well again. Starting to, I don't know. I mean, he was never horrible, but he's I forget, somebody was talking about his stats today, and he's like top 15, top 10 in a lot of different things. 49ers just beat the Seahawks. But I would imagine San Francisco keeps Nick Mullins at least for next season, because that's the exact same situation that the Eagles were in. Just another good backup quarterback fucking named Nick, man.
Yeah, it feels like Jimmy G insurance.
Yeah, you got to keep that Jimmy G insurance. Anyway.
Although, I mean, it seems like the quarterback they're going to get rid of is C.J. Beathard, but I don't think that excites too many people in our neck of the woods. Unfortunately,
nobody cares about C.J. Beathards.
No, he couldn't even beat Goff. Why does he think he can beat hard?
Only Nick Foles could beat Goff.
That's right.
Whoever else did.
Wow. It's gonna make a big Dick Nick joke, but I think it's been played out. So yeah, a little bit on the nose. Mike Shanahan and John Elway. One of the more interesting things that I've gathered from this article by Woody Page is that when Mike Shanahan was basically czar of the Denver Broncos back in the mid to late 2000s, he wouldn't let John Elway into Dove Valley. When John Elway took over, he wouldn't let Mike Shanahan into Dove Valley. How do you think this whole relationship got repaired so quickly?
I feel like losing will do that to you.
Maybe.
Shanahan had to leave because he started to lose. Elway facing back-to-back losing seasons. Nothing can end a feud like everybody being losers, you know?
I guess so.
I don't know. I don't even know what the fucking feud was about.
It's like, oh, they're natural adversaries. Why?
Well, you guys won each other's Super Bowls. I don't know, man. It's just ego.
Each other's careers, what they are. It really doesn't make any sort of sense to me.
No, it's probably. I mean, John Elway, I'm assuming, must have wanted to be involved with the Broncos in some capacity, and Shanahan didn't want that to happen. I don't know.
Probably. There's probably some tanning bed mishap. John Elway was really, really drunk and tried to get into it and accidentally spilled beer all over it and broke it. I don't know.
Electrocuted Mike.
Yeah. which led to some of his poor decision making with Robert Griffin III's knees. I mean, like you were saying, Mike Shanahan's not a top 10 coach. I don't know if he was a top 10 coach for the last 8 years of his career, because between 2006 and 2013, which I think was his last year in Washington, basically since the Jake Plummer playoff trip, he made the playoffs once, and it was with Washington, and that didn't go over very well, obviously. It might have cost Robert Griffin his future in Washington. But yeah, it felt like he was sticking around, and he was kind of getting by on reputation for the last few years. I don't know that it would get any better with added time away from football. I mean, it hasn't worked with Jon Gruden, like he said in the video. We have Joe Gibbs as kind of the precursor to that as well. That didn't work. It feels like the ultimate rehash and trying to recapture some magic that has kind of faded away and just kind of belongs.
Yeah. Well, I think the Broncos might have run out of they might have used up their magic there with the Gary Kubiak Super Bowl win.
Yeah.
Wade Phillips as the defensive coordinator. Like, you can only go back and take so many old coaches you used to have and win with them.
Let's get Dan Reeves back here.
Yeah, and
like those huge oversized glasses.
Red Miller. I think he's dead now, but
yeah, I don't know.
Just name him head coach.
That's possible.
Just name him
he's
head
the
coach.
ultimate. He's the ultimate yes man for John Elway. Literally can't say no.
Here's okay, so like Shanahan left Washington, right? Well, was fired from Washington. They hire Jay Gruden, who's been there 5 seasons now. Has never really,
I think so.
Has never really done anything.
Made the playoffs once.
Still has a job there, and all of a sudden,
not for long.
All of a sudden, with Josh Johnson as his quarterback, gets a win, keeping Washington in the playoff race. Maybe he's out after this season, but I would argue getting one win with Josh Johnson maybe makes him a candidate for Coach of the Year.
I think it's pretty impressive. I think that was Josh Johnson's first win.
Ever?
He started before. He started back in 2011. His first win, he was drafted back in 2008.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's so impressive, though, to like kind of be in and out of football for 10 years. Like I feel like he was like with the Bengals like 3 different times. Probably the Buccaneers as well. I don't really know the entire career arc of Josh Johnson, but to stick with it for that long, to finally get a win in what would be year 11 is I don't know. It'll probably be a Disney movie someday.
Right. And so
that I won't watch, like $1 Million Arm.
My other, I guess, question there is, does Vance, like, I think they should move on from Vance Joseph, but
yeah, I'll say
is there, like, Jay Gruden to me is an example of sticking around with somebody and seeing what happens. Like, I don't know. Can you make an argument because of all the injuries? Like, you wouldn't look at this season for Jay Gruden and be like, well, this is one we got to get rid of him. Alex Smith breaks his leg. Colt McCoy breaks his leg. You're stuck with Mark Sanchez and take Josh Johnson off the street. Vance Joseph has there's been a lot of things out of his control, injury related, that have hurt this team. But, like, is there any reason in your mind for the Broncos to stick with him?
To stick with Vance Joseph, or for the Redskins to stick with? No.
Well, no, I mean, I'm just using Gruden as an example because, like, part of me says continuing to switch coaches isn't the answer, but the other part of me is like, well, I think it's pretty clear that Vance isn't the guy. I think the way that Browns game was coached in a loss is evidence of that. I think, like, he just doesn't have the instincts to call a game late. Like, the last 2 weeks, it's just they made the wrong decisions, in the fourth quarter, and you can't do that as a head coach. And all of those decisions are, you can kind of argue points both ways, but, like,
right. Like, obviously, if the Broncos come down and Case Keenum doesn't get sacked there on that final drive and they kick a field goal to win, people aren't going to second guess Vance Joseph's decision. It might have been the wrong decision either way, but people are only going to second guess you when you end up losing. But that's kind of how it goes when you gamble like that. And I think it's more of a gamble to kick the field goal there and be down a point and to try to get the ball back than the other way of getting 1 yard from the 7-yard line and trying to score a touchdown. When you gamble with that, like, you're responsible for the outcome either way. And it feels like every time he makes a big decision in the fourth quarter, something bad happens. And I don't know if that's a product of when you gamble with a bad team, you're just gonna end up with snake eyes more often than not, as opposed to gambling when Peyton Manning's your quarterback. But that's just something as the head coach you're accountable for.
Yeah,
and it doesn't feel like anything's worked for him.
What do you think? What do you think was a worse call? Not going for it on 4th and 1 or on 3rd and 1, not having Andy Janovich on the field and pitching it wide left to Phillip Lindsay, and maybe not even have going with Lindsay instead of Royce Freeman and trying to just pick up,
I mean, I don't really like to second guess the actual play calls themselves, because I think those are just I think you usually do that based on personnel or whatever. Because I don't know, it's if that works, we're definitely not going to second guess it, but I'll second guess the decision to go for it more than the whatever play call you have on 3rd and 1. Obviously, if I was the offensive coordinator, Andy Janovich would get 20 carries a game in my offense.
Well, if I was the offensive coordinator, all of my starters would be sitting by into the 3rd quarter.
Why is that?
Because we'd be ahead by 40 points every game.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. Well, or behind.
My quarterback would set the touchdown record, and by not playing in the 4th quarter of every game, he would, essentially play 3 less games than all the other quarterbacks.
So basically 2013 Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
I like it. No, it's a good offensive strategy just to have the best quarterback. It's been working well for Andy Reid this season.
I'd be like, guys, we're not going to go for a first down on this play. We're going for a touchdown.
You see, I told him to hit that home run.
See? That's how you do it.
Good strategy, sir.
Okay, Broncos play the Raiders Monday night. We obviously don't really give a shit.
Nope.
Do you want the Broncos to win or lose this game?
Win.
Okay, me too. I want them to win.
It'd be nice to hand the Raiders their final L in Oakland.
Yeah, I think that would be I think that is somewhat poetic. If the Broncos could be the last team to beat the Raiders in Oakland.
I think if you're worried about draft position, unless you're it's really coming down to the last few minutes and you're in contention for the first pick, like the Buccaneers were a few years ago and they clearly folded. I think you're a nerd if you root for your team to lose to get a higher draft pick. That's just my opinion.
Well, I think right now too, there's so many teams that are just have much shittier records than the Broncos.
Yeah, that's part of it.
At this point, there's not a ton to gain there. So
and it's I mean, you're not automatically promised a better pick or a better player with a better pick. Just the Raiders took Colton Miller before the Chargers took Derwin James.
Right. So, yeah. So
it really guarantees nothing.
No, it doesn't. And if the Broncos beat the Raiders, final game in Oakland, which still kind of up in the air. Who knows where they play next year, but it could be. And then if they upset the Chargers and kind of just fuck up their playoff seeding a little bit, I mean, they've already clinched a spot. They're definitely a wild card team, but
then Vance Joseph gets his job back.
Yeah,
no, that's going too far.
No. We're not going to say that. No. All right, so now,
hold on. What's your favorite memory of the Coliseum?
I don't know.
You gotta have one game. We've been playing there for a long time, Brandon.
Yeah, my memory too, Will. I barely remember what the fuck happened last week. I think I don't know. You know what was good is didn't the Broncos beat the shit out of the Raiders for the season opener on Monday Night Football with Eddie Royal?
Yeah.
Eddie Royal had
back when
was that Cutler or Plummer?
No, that was Cutler. Who was calling that game? That was the late Monday Night Football game. Mike Greenberg was doing play-by-play. Mike Golick was doing color, and the other guy doing color was Mike Ditka.
Oh God. Mike and Mike, huh?
Yep. That's one of the things I remember from that game.
Yeah, I don't remember that. Fuck.
I'm gonna
Eddie Royal is legit.
Yeah, and that was like his best game, except for like that Chargers game.
No, he was still good. He just Cutler looked like the future, man. So that was Josh McDaniels then, right? Or was that Shanahan still?
No, that's still Shanahan.
That was Shanahan's final year, maybe?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, something like that.
This was last year. Yeah, then McDaniels got Eddie Royal. It was like, let's not throw the ball to this guy who had 93 catches last year.
This guy who plays the slot very well, just like that Wes Welker,
Yeah. I don't have any use for him.
Although I don't know if Wes Welker was –
he doesn't really fit.
I'm not sure he was in the league. I don't know if he was a Patriot yet. I can't remember.
Eddie Royal didn't really fit the Josh McDaniels mold quite as well as Brandon Stokely did. So
that's right. You'll never be Eddie Royal. This is obviously a setup for your favorite memory. What is it?
Oh, I mean, I have a few of them just because I've been to a number of games at the
Coliseum. Just give me one. I just want one.
All right. 2014. I was in the stands behind the Broncos sideline. Brock Osweiler thought he was going in for the fourth quarter and then couldn't find his helmet. And then Peyton Manning ran onto the field. And then Brock Osweiler threw his arms up in disgust from afar.
Yeah, that was great.
And that's when he decided not to re-sign. Not in 2015.
That was CJ Anderson's breakout game, right? Came against the Raiders. Yep. And Chris Harris Jr.'s pick 6 for the victory against the Raiders. Pretty important for 2015. And that was in Oakland. There, we covered them all. Now let's talk about the rest of the league. You're telling me Cam Newton done for the season.
Yeah, so get pumped for Taylor Heineke. That's all I have to say.
Who the fuck is that? That's their backup?
Yeah.
I have never heard of that guy. Taylor Heineke? That's your problem. Where did he play college? Where's he from?
I have no idea where he played college. I just know that he plays for the Panthers. No, this is probably the right move for the Panthers because Cam Newton hasn't looked very good, obviously, in the last 4 games. I don't know if that's all injury-based. It's his shoulder.
They're saying he's got basically like the same injury Andrew Luck had in his shoulder.
Yeah, which is not a good idea to play with that. Otherwise, you could miss a whole season like Andrew Luck.
Exactly. That's why they're resting him.
Yeah. It feels like, I don't know, Cam has always been mechanically a little lacking as a quarterback, and Booger McFarland brought it up on the Monday Night Football broadcast, which I thought was fair. But, this is the right move for the Panthers. They're already out of it.
Cam's basically had two seasons where he looked like he had the arm talent to be accurate, and that was his rookie season and 2015 when the Panthers made their Super Bowl run. Like he legit played really good football, as a passing quarterback in addition to being, a fucking giant man out there who can run over people. So, and this season, which is, it's crazy. It's like you've got Mitch Trubisky, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. You've got these guys who are making as many plays with their legs from the quarterback position. And 2 of those 3 guys are in the playoff hunt right now. It's just like, part of me sees that and is like, well, if you're struggling with your quarterbacks the way the Broncos have been, it's like, just bring in a fucking mediocre passer, but a guy who can fucking run the ball and give your team a chance to, I don't know. I think it makes you can ride the slightly above average wave with a quarterback who is equally dangerous, running the ball. Even though that's not a good long-term solution, I think Josh Allen and Mitch Trubisky might die before they have long, successful careers in the NFL. But at this point, I would take Josh Allen over Case Keenum if I got to switch him midway through the year. And Josh Allen's one of the most inaccurate passers in the league. But I like watching those guys play more right now.
You know who can throw and pass? Colin Kaepernick.
There we go.
No,
What's the Panthers' backup quarterback's name?
Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, that's I've heard of Colin Kaepernick. Well,
yeah, whatever. Let's talk about the Pro Bowl snubs because I don't know if the Pro Bowl is as interesting as it used to be because it feels like everybody passes. I mean, the Pro Bowl is not interesting. It's kind of interesting to see who gets the nod. And it's nice to see guys like Phillip Lindsay, who we talked about, get recognition. But there's a lot of guys that I think just got skipped over. And part of it is because of they get overshadowed or they're just like not enough slots at stacked positions, especially, running back in the NFC like we're going to talk about. But who are like your biggest, like 3 biggest snubs in your opinion?
And I'm working on a video for this, but the guys I think that are the biggest snubs, Andrew Luck, Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, Patrick Mahomes get in ahead of Luck. I think you easily argue Andrew Luck's been better this season than Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Rivers, Mahomes, I guess they deserve it, even though they're AFC West rivals. And then another Colt rookie linebacker, Darius Leonard. That was odd.
Yeah, I felt like he should probably get over someone like Bernardrick McKinney.
Yeah,
no
and I think
to Bernardrick, but
I think Darius Leonard is going to be one of those guys who, as long as he stays healthy, is going to get in there like every season after this. But I think Andrew Luck has had a huge effect on the Colts offense, but defense, like overall, I'm not sure there's really another player other than Darius Leonard who's affected the defense in the AFC as a whole as much as him. Because Colts were like top 5 worst in almost every defensive category last season. And now they're kind of like right at 10, like 10th best in a ton of categories this year. Yep. And then the other guy who I think really got shafted is the Chiefs, Chris Jones. Yeah. Also, definitely. Chiefs not a good defense, but as of late, they've been playing better, and their pass rush has been really good, probably better than the Broncos and the Chargers pass rush, which I would not have predicted this season. And a big reason for that is Chris Jones is just wreaking havoc on the defensive line. So,
this is payback, I will say. This is payback for when the Chiefs went 2-14 and had the most Pro Bowlers.
Oh, yeah. When was that?
2012.
Oh, man. That's
yeah.
I don't remember that. Who were some of the guys that got in?
Derek Johnson, who's still playing for the Raiders, if you watch First Take. I don't know if Jamal Charles was there.
Charles was there.
That was one of the seasons. I don't know if he was hurt that season, though. Eric Berry got voted in.
Yeah.
Another linebacker, I think.
That's crazy.
Just some guys I don't remember.
The other weird thing with the Chiefs is Eric Fisher got in.
Oh, yeah.
And their right tackle, Mitchell Schwartz, has been like 10 times better than him.
No, people are just like left tackles. Like people just still assume that left tackles are just way more important than right tackles, which I think everybody has proved isn't, because like people like Von Miller line up against right tackles. But yeah, people just assume that like if you're decent, you play left tackle, like that's the most valuable position on the field.
Yeah, well, and like Eric Fisher's he's just been like average this year, which is a huge improvement for him because he's been a terrible left tackle. He's been like,
what a bad draft that was.
And what was I going to say? Oh, and Andrew Luck's tight end, Eric Ebron, gets the Pro Bowl vote. He's in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, definitely deserving.
Who turned him into a Pro Bowl tight end? Andrew fucking Luck did.
Just the joy of leaving Detroit.
Yeah. I mean, Luck has the second most touchdown passes this season, 34. It's just, I don't know. He getting in, I get why Tom Brady goes in, because usually the Pro Bowl is kind of just like, once you've been in a couple times, you're going to get voted in every time because it's like players know you, fans know you. But
yeah, why do we want to vote in Tom Brady anyway? He's not going to go.
Yeah, he's not going to go, and he's having one of his worst seasons in a while. And he's still having a good season, but it's
okay,
good enough. I mean,
I guess so. Yeah, I mean, I also thought like the NFC equivalent of that is Aaron Rodgers getting in over Matt Ryan. Neither of them have done a lot of winning this season, but Matt Ryan's got better numbers.
I'd say
Aaron Rodgers finally threw an interception.
Yeah, I would say Russell Wilson more deserving than Ryan and Rodgers.
Yeah, that's fair too. That's fair.
Because I think Russell Wilson is third in most him and Rivers might be tied for like 31 touchdowns or some shit. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers, and God knows people know I love Aaron Rodgers, but this is not a Pro Bowl season at all for him. Whether part of that's due to his injury or not.
Yeah, I feel like I'd be, if I were Aaron Rodgers, I'd kind of like be embarrassed to go to the Pro Bowl after this year.
You're like,
I don't want this. Like I've been shitty. I was like shitty on purpose to get rid of Mike McCarthy, and now like it's stuck. Like when you make a weird face and it won't go away.
Yeah, I mean, Russell Wilson, Andrew Luck, probably the two big quarterback snubs. Who are some of your guys? Who are you thinking about? Who are the guy? Who are you thinking about?
I'm thinking about Hunter Henry. Sorry, I got him confused for Virgil Green. Classic mix-up.
Yeah.
Thinking about Derek Johnson. I'm thinking about Juju Smith-Schuster. I think he's probably been the most valuable receiver for the Steelers this year, and I know it's kind of blasphemous to say about a team with Antonio Brown on the other side, but
Brown gets in because he has
taken the top off of defenses.
Brown gets all the touchdown targets. He has 13 touchdowns this season. Juju has like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And Brown has the name, the recognition. But
indeed he does.
I think if you look at their bodies of work this year, you're right. I think like Juju's been more important to that team. And he does the dirty shit. Like,
yeah,
he blocks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which is important. Although I don't feel bad for the Steelers because they got their left tackle, left guard, and center all in the Pro Bowl this year. Which I guess is just like people saying like we appreciate you for making it work with whoever's there at running back, and you guys are more important than Le'Veon Bell. That's kind of what the NFL is saying by giving them all the Pro Bowl votes there. But another guy is DeForest Buckner, who's been quietly having a really, really good season with the 49ers and pretty much wrecked the game in Seattle and was like reason either number 1 or 2, maybe number 1 being Sebastian Janikowski, but reason 2 at least that the 49ers upset the Seahawks for the first time in a billion years. So he's been really under the radar, but I think deserved a little bit of love. And then Mike Evans too, who's become the best receiver in Tampa Bay history in year like 4 or 5 for him.
Yeah. I writing my episode, like I was trying to pick between Juju Smith-Schuster and Mike Evans as who I thought was the bigger wide receiver snub. And I went with Mike Evans because he's second most receiving yards this season, and he's done it with 2 different quarterbacks, like a quarterback shuffle, a quarterback shit show in Tampa. So, like, to me, that's just slightly more impressive, even though, like, I don't know who I would want on my team more, Juju Smith-Schuster or Mike Evans.
Yeah, it's tough.
How tall is Schuster? Is he like 6'1" or
6'1", yeah. 6'1".
Evans like 6'4". So I'd probably size-wise, I would go with Mike Evans. But
yeah, it depends what you want out of a receiver.
Exactly.
Like if you're pairing someone to go opposite Deshaun Jackson, provided that Deshaun Jackson hasn't given up like he did this season, I'd take Mike Evans. But opposite, well, I'd probably say the same. Opposite Antonio Brown. So yeah, I think the answer is Mike Evans. Although Juju Smith-Schuster is like 17 years old, so he's just going to keep getting better probably. I think Juju Smith-Schuster like just got his driver's license. That's the real reason he was biking everywhere. He's been lying about his age.
He's young.
Yeah.
So young, that Juju.
Yes. So
22.
young.
Yeah, he is 22.
Yeah.
And he is 6'1". Yeah, okay.
I was right, except for the 22 part. Alvin Kamara, one of your favorite players, didn't get in. This feels like just too many running backs in the NFC. Christian McCaffrey didn't get in either.
Yeah. I mean, Kamara, McCaffrey they're basically like the same running back. They do similar things very well, which is catch passes out of the backfield.
Yeah. Well, okay, question for you. Draft position notwithstanding, so you're not like spending the 8th pick on McCaffrey and like a 3rd rounder on Kamara. Who would you want just in a vacuum between those two guys?
Oh, man. That's a good question. There's bias towards McCaffrey because of the Bronco ties. The Ed McCaffrey is his father, but
you also like Alvin Kamara.
Strictly a player, I would take Kamara. I think McCaffrey's he's playing better than I thought he would. He's proving to be like a 3-down back. He's tough. He's elusive. But when I watch games, I see Kamara. One, he hurdles people more, which is always cool. But I also see him fucking drop his shoulder and hit defenders, like lay pain to defenders. Like, I just think Kamara might be a little bit tougher of a running back. And that's like, I'm not trying to say that as a knock to McCaffrey. I just think he's just a little more gritty and I don't know. I would take Kamara.
That's fair. I think you could. I think it helps Kamara that he plays with Drew Brees because, like we were talking about, Brees is a lot more accurate on those short passes than Cam Newton is because Newton's an upper body thrower, to borrow a phrase from Booger McFarland. But I think I don't think you could go wrong with either guy.
No, they're both great.
Yeah. And I think they're kind of used differently. Like the Saints could use Alvin Kamara more, and you could probably have numbers like Christian McCaffrey. But they have Mark Ingram, so
yeah. And I think Kamara was on pace. I think Kamara, like if Mark Ingram, say, was suspended this entire season, I think Kamara he'd be leading, all the running backs for rushing yards. I feel like in the NFC. I don't know if he'd be ahead of Todd Gurley's 17 rushing touchdowns.
That's a pretty tough one.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
Speaking of Rams running backs, some news we didn't really get to, but they're about to sign CJ Anderson. I don't know if they have already or it's just kind of in the works, but CJ is getting his 3rd team of the year.
Yeah, he's gonna back up Todd Gurley. So
it's about right because they had no one behind Todd Gurley, and it turns out you have to have more than one running back when things go south like they did on Sunday night.
Yeah, I think that's a good move for.
Yep. So does that mean we're officially rooting for the Rams to go to the Super Bowl from the NFC?
I don't know who I'm rooting for yet. I will say this, though. I just was looking at Kamara's stats, and they have basically stayed the same in terms of his rushing yards per game, even with Ingram. So I think
pretty impressive.
I think I was wrong there.
So it's all about total yards with those guys.
Yeah, no, because he gets a lot of passes. Who am I rooting for in the NFC? I kind of
Should we just do our endorsements before the playoffs?
Yeah, I kind of want to. I want to see the Saints.
Okay.
But I mean, I would be happy with the Rams too because with CJ,
we could sell a lot of beating Goff t-shirts.
Wade Phillips there, beating Goff, and I like the Rams. They're a fun team to watch. But I want to see Drew Brees get one more crack at a Super Bowl. And right now, I want to see a Drew Brees versus Phillip Rivers.
Phillip Rivers, yeah. I knew where that was going. We
talked about that quite a while ago on this podcast.
Yeah, I think we did. It
was before the Chargers got hot, super hot.
Yeah. It's probably back when I still thought the Chargers were frauds, which I'll never denounce. I the thing with Rivers is I kind of do want to see him in a Super Bowl, just because.
Just so he
like,
can lose.
I think he's like, yeah, well, sort of that, but like I think he deserves to at least get a chance.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him win necessarily, and that's just me being a very biased Broncos fan that hasn't liked Phillip Rivers from 2006. But it feels right that like those guys should at least like be on the biggest stage. If that makes sense.
I think like they have both earned the right to get Breeze to get back there and Rivers to get there. And I think they have the best defenses in their you're looking at the top teams in the NFL, which are a lot of these offensive sort of driven teams like the Chiefs, the Rams. I feel like complete teams, the Saints, their defense kept them in, the last game, and the Chargers, as Joey Bosa gets healthy, compared to the Chiefs, I think they still have a better defense compared to the Patriots, the Steelers. Like, I don't know. The Ravens have
go ahead.
Best defense in the AFC. It's a team that could be in the playoffs, but I don't know. You look at just two teams where you can see their defense winning the game for them or their offense. I think the Saints and the Chargers kind of show that most effectively.
I was going to say conspiracy theory that I just thought of right now. Is it a coincidence that Joey Bosa came back for the Chargers at the same exact time that Nick Bosa left Ohio State? Just putting it out there.
No. Yes. No.
Putting it out there.
Are they the same guy?
Pretty close.
Same player?
I'm talking about Derek Johnson. I'm talking about – also, is it a coincidence that Hunter Henry might be reactivated after Stephen A. Smith brought him up last week?
Yeah, his broken leg or whatever. What the fuck did he break his leg or did
I think he tore his ACL back in like May, though. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, that's close.
Maybe Stephen A. Smith is just like so informed that he's like ahead of everybody else.
Maybe Steven's his mind's working in the future.
He's simply too prepared. It's the problem. And he's definitely not a hack that's not worthy of a show on ESPN. For another time, though, we've got a few games with playoff implications that we should talk about more than the other games.
Yes.
So we got a nice slate of games here. I want to start with the Saturday game. I think it's the second game, which
it's the evening game.
Yeah, this is a game I'm looking forward to. Baltimore Ravens at the Los Angeles Chargers. I don't know if Ravens fans really travel very well. I don't know if there's a lot of Ravens fans in LA, so I don't know. Maybe there won't be anybody at the stadium, especially as it gets closer to the holiday season.
I know there are some Ravens fans in Temecula, California.
Is that true?
That's where I watched the Broncos lose to the Ravens in the playoffs.
Oh, no.
In the bar.
Yikes. Yeah, so I guess so.
There was at least one Ravens fan there who was talking shit the whole game. Did not like that guy.
Nope.
Wearing a Webb jersey.
A Lardarius Webb jersey?
I think so. Their corner. He was their corner, right?
Tough. Yeah, I don't think he's even playing in that game. What do you expect from Lamar Jackson, not only in this game, but like, do you think he's if you're trying to win a Super Bowl in Baltimore this year, which I don't think it's probably not going to happen with either guy, but like, who are you putting your money on, Lamar Jackson or old Joe Flacco?
Oh, man, in the playoffs?
To not only win in the playoffs, but to get there in the first place.
I mean, if I just made a strong case for how much I love watching the running quarterbacks this season that can't throw very well. And I don't trust Joe Flacco. That's the thing. Like,
yeah, I think it's just bad karma to go away from Lamar Jackson right now.
Yeah, just stick with him, I guess. I think the Chargers defense is going to fuck him up.
Yeah, probably. Feels like Derwin James could have like 2 picks, and either Bosa or Ingram are going to like strip sack him. Yeah, I'm not like I don't
know.
Lamar Jackson's kind of been a hot button issue dating back to the draft. And I don't really have any strong opinions on him one way or another. I think he should be a quarterback. I also don't think he's going to be that good of a quarterback. But I don't know. He could win out, and I could see him beating a very good team in the wild card round, like the Patriots or something.
I mean, I think the Ravens defense is that good. They're going to keep their team in a game. And what you have with Lamar Jackson is honestly, I think he's a better passer than, Josh Allen is. But he can break open. I don't know. If the game's close, he can make a play that gets your offense in a position to win the game.
And he makes their running game better too.
Exactly.
Which really, really helps this time of year.
And right now, the teams winning are the teams running the football well. All the teams winning are fucking rushing for a ton of yards right now. And maybe my favorite thing that's happened, this has been a really good football season in that, I don't know, the first month and a half, everybody it was all about the offenses, and first 2 months. And then, you got the crazy primetime game between the Chiefs and the Rams where, this is the future of the NFL. And then the last few weeks, it's been all defense and running the football. It's just nice that there's been both. And defenses are proving to be kind of the thing that's showing which teams maybe have the best chance to get the Super Bowl. And right now, I think it's cool that there's not one team that looks like a clear-cut favorite to make it to the Super Bowl. So
I agree. Yeah. It feels like this is the first year that we haven't just accepted the inevitability that the Patriots are going to be there in the AFC, and they're probably going to be favored over whoever the NFC spits out at them.
Right. Exactly. So I think that's what
it's really
makes it fun. And it's I don't know, teams like Tennessee, this is their second season where they're pushing for it. The Colts, I don't think anybody expected to be a playoff contender, even with Andrew Luck back. The Texans, another year, they're fighting up there. So there's just different teams involved too, which the NFL, I guess, does well, but I don't know.
As if I was a non-biased observer, I'd be very glad that the Broncos weren't in the playoff mix anymore, because I'd rather watch the Colts in the wild card round at least than whatever the Broncos would have to offer.
Right, and the Colts look like a dangerous team. If they can who needs to lose? The Ravens need to lose for the Colts to have a shot.
Which could very well happen.
And I guess are the Titans ahead of the Colts in the AFC playoff seeding?
I think they're probably even, right? Because I think they still have to play head to head.
Okay.
Or maybe they have to play the Texans. I don't know. I won't worry about it until next week. Oh, no. The Colts do play the Titans the last game of the season.
Oh, nice. So if they win this week, they control their destiny as long as the Ravens lose.
Yeah.
And now another Washington and Tennessee have playoff implications for both teams, which I guess the story kind of lost in Washington is probably that their defense is actually pretty damn good too.
And they were a team that was destined to win the NFC East until Alex Smith befell one of the worst injuries in recent memory.
Yeah, and I think Alex Smith is back home. He's
he's out of the hospital, which
fought
is
off
great.
The infection or whatever. But so Washington's defense is playing really well, going against the biggest mystery team in my opinion. Tennessee fucking Titans.
Although I think they have found a little bit of an identity over the last 2 weeks with Derrick Henry, and that identity is just have Derrick Henry run for a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah, was it 170 yards last week?
Yeah, he's ran for over 400 yards in the last 2 games.
Yeah, that's insane.
Obviously, a fourth of that on one carry, but
that's the perfect complement to a Titans defense that's playing well, to their head coach Mike Vrabel And then Marcus Mariota, who you still don't know if he's a good NFL quarterback. The one thing he's done this season is he's been safe with the football. He hasn't made stupid mistakes. So if you give him a running back that can get you 150 yards a game and you don't have to ask him to do a lot, also another guy who every now and then can make a play with his legs, like that's a dangerous team as well.
Yeah, I think out of the 3 teams left for that 6th seed, the Titans, the Ravens, and the Colts, I think I'd rather see the Colts.
I think the Colts just
like entertainment.
Right. And the Colts have a good defense too. Not necessarily as good as Washington or Tennessee or Baltimore, but the Colts offense, I think, is significantly better. And Andrew Luck now has Marlon Mack to, know, like the Cowboys game without Marlon Mack, the Colts don't win that game. So
Nyheim Hines, ever heard of him?
Nyheim Hines. We just
from this podcast.
Run the football, play defense in December, and you got a chance.
Any of these other games especially interest you?
You got Texans, Eagles. That's interesting just because the Eagles won. That's a tough one because I want the Texans to keep their spot ahead of the Patriots.
Yes.
But who's not going to root
about Nick Foles? Yeah.
Who's not going to root for the Nick Foles story? So I'll just let the football gods decide that one. Bills actually have a chance to keep the game within 2 touchdowns against the Patriots. Saints Steelers. That'll be interesting.
I think that's going to be a runaway Saints win.
We'll see. I think the Saints.
They haven't been playing offense like they.
I think their offense gets back on track against the Steelers.
They had early.
And a lot of really good teams that win most, like teams that start like 10-1. I feel like they lose two late season games. When the Broncos were trying to go undefeated in their 98 run or whatever, they lose to the Giants and the Dolphins. Like, I feel like that's kind of just what's going on with the Saints.
It's very hard to go like 15-1.
Yeah, because all of a sudden, you're in the playoffs, and then you're playing against other teams fighting like for a chance to get in, or just a terrible team who wants to be a spoiler and they play great football one weekend, like the fucking Dolphins did.
The 49ers, yeah.
Yeah, the Dolphins did the Patriots this season.
Right. So you want to go through these and actually make our official predictions?
Yes.
We were both 8-8 last week too, so whatever the series was at before then is
exactly the same.
Exact same. All right, so let's start off with those Saturday games. Washington at Tennessee. What do you got?
I'm going to take Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm going to take Tennessee too. Josh Johnson starting again. I guess a better option than Mark Sanchez, but I think he's probably going to have to wait 11 more years for his second win.
Yeah, he played Jacksonville, also good defense, but Tennessee's a better team. So we're both going Tennessee?
Yep. Baltimore at Chargers.
I'm going to go with the Chargers.
I'll take the Ravens. I feel like
Chargers got 10 days rest.
Yeah.
Big win over Kansas City. They're going to blow the final game to the Broncos. That's why I think they win this one.
Okay. I'll accept that explanation. Let's see. Giants at Colts. I'll take the Colts.
Yeah, I'll take the Colts too.
The Giants and the Cowboys shut out last week. At the same exact time, which was pretty hilarious. Texans at Eagles. I assume you're taking the Texans based on what you said earlier.
Yeah, I got the Texans.
I would take the Eagles.
All right.
I feel like the Texans nearly lost a game that they really should have won handily against the Jets. And
that's fair.
I don't know. I don't think they like to play on the East Coast.
All right.
I'm going to take the Eagles.
All
Big
right.
Dick Nick. keeps it rolling. Bills at Patriots. I'll take the Patriots.
Yeah, I'll take the Patriots too, but I will be a big Bills fan. Big Bills fan this weekend. I hope Josh Allen rushes for over 150 yards.
Yeah, I hope so too. It's possible. He could break Tom Brady's career rushing mark next week.
Yeah.
Steelers at Saints.
Oh, yeah. I hope Brady loses his rushing title next week.
That would be nice.
Okay. Sorry. Steelers at Saints.
Yeah, I already said the Saints.
Saints for me, too.
Copycat. Chiefs at Seahawks. While you're deliberating, I'm going to take the Seahawks.
Okay, I'll go Chiefs.
Okay. All right. The barely watchables. Shout out Bill Simmons. Jaguars at Dolphins. Well, I should say this has playoff implications too for the Dolphins, although they're
not out after losing?
No, I don't think so.
God. Give me the Jags to put them out of their misery.
Oh, interesting. Jacksonville. I want to talk about Joe Flacco going to Jacksonville next season. Do you see that at all?
Oh, no.
I think he's too hairy for Florida.
That's why I don't live there.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I'm taking the Dolphins. Falcons at Panthers.
Oh.
Give me the Falcons.
Yeah, go Falcons.
Taylor Heineke is his name.
Taylor Lautner.
Tyler Heineken. Bengals at Browns. You got to take the Browns in this one, right?
Got to take the Browns. They've got to win to stay alive.
I don't think are they still alive?
I don't know.
I don't think they are. It might be for like the North. Who knows? Wait, no, I'm all mixed up. Buccaneers at Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Cowboys too, even though they sucked last week. They sucked like a week later than I thought they would. I thought they'd suck against the Eagles, but they just,
they waited.
Again, Stephen A. Smith brain. I'm just so ahead.
You're ahead.
Vikings at Lions. No Kerryon Johnson for the Lions.
Vikings.
Yeah, I'll take the Vikings too. I don't expect you to come back and beat the Vikings after losing to the Bills. Unfortunately. Packers at Jets. This is really a terrible game.
Yeah.
A lot of green in this game, by the way.
Yeah.
Too much, some would say.
Is Aaron Rodgers playing?
I think so.
Then I'll take the Packers.
Didn't read anything to the contrary. Yeah, I'll take the Packers as well. No, I'm going to take the Jets, actually.
Okay.
I think the Jets made some strides against Houston, even though I didn't watch the game because I was tailgating in the parking lot. But I was listening on the radio.
Okay.
So I'm going to take
whatever you say.
The JETS, Jets, and also Jets. Rams at Cardinals. Actually, the worst game.
Rams. Biggest mismatch.
Yep. This is what the Rams need to get back on track.
Get right game.
Bears at 49ers.
I'm going to take the Bears.
But
I won't be surprised if the 49ers win this game.
Yeah, I was going to say, give me the 49ers. It feels like this is just Kyle Shanahan's move, is to just lose until like he needs to win to keep his job and just reel off wins.
Yeah, you're right. He's got it figured out.
Yeah, he's got it all set up. All right.
We did it.
There's our picks. We made it.
We picked all the games. We updated you with the football news of your life.
Yep.
And we'll be back next week.
Adios.
Bye.